So a bit of a different video this time around. I finally got into London with one of my best mates to go and look at watches and go to the authorised dealers and the boutiques and see what it's like. There was a bit of apprehension, I think it's fair to say, because you hear definitely hear different mixed reviews around how you get treated and how they just behave when you're in there, especially as we weren't specifically looking to buy anything at the time. It really was just a bit of a recce. We both had an idea about potential watches we'll be getting in the future, and I'll come on to that in a bit. And it was really just being honest as we went into each shop and just said, look, we're not looking to buy today. We are really just two watch geeks out for a cool day, just to come and look at all the various different watches. So the idea was to go to New Bond Street, to Regent Street, and then an area called the Burlington Arcade. And then you hit pretty much all the authorised dealers, boutiques, and then the Burlington Arcade is grey dealers that mainly specialise in Rolex, which I hadn't quite appreciated before I went there. So we got to Liverpool Street Station. Wasn't expecting to go into the first two shops there, but we went to the Omega boutique, and all my experiences in Omega boutiques are fantastic. The staff are super friendly, really knowledgeable, and just happy to talk to you. And we ended up being in there for about 40-45 minutes, just trying on loads of different watches. I tried on a Ploprof, which is titanium, which is the weirdest sensation. I've got a Pelagos 39, which is titanium. You pick it up and again, it gives you a bit of a... It messes with your brain a bit, because you look at it, you're used to handling steel watches, you pick it up, you think it's going to be a certain weight and it's not. And imagine that times 10 with a Ploprof. I'll put a picture in, and I'll put pictures in generally as I talk about the different watches, and even some that I might forget to talk about, but I'll just put pictures in as I go through the video. So the Ploprof was mental, and you pick it up expecting it to weigh an absolute ton, and it doesn't. But yeah, I had a fantastic time in there talking to those guys. And then we went next door to Watches of Switzerland. We're in there for about 40 minutes. And my friend has a IWC 43mm Le Petit Prince chronograph, one of the older one, the 43mm one, and he's been for a while looking at changing that to the 41mm. So he spent a good amount of time looking in there at the green dial, and it is beautiful. I don't have a picture of it, unfortunately. I should have taken one, but it's a fantastic looking watch, and the different size of the case and the bracelet, so it's 20mm I believe between the lugs, and it tapers down to about 18. Visually and in the hand, the weight is completely different, and it wears far more comfortably. So that was really cool for him to be able to look at that, and he is now on the hunt for that and will be selling his Le Petit Prince. So that was really good that he finally got the opportunity to do that. I spent some time looking at some Bulgari watches, and specifically Grand Seiko, and they had the Mist Flake, the GMT. So I previously tried on the black one, but I really wanted to try on the white one, or silver dial. I do have a picture of that, so I'll put it up. And it was a really nice watch. The dial is fantastic. It's definitely airs on the more sporty side for typical Grand Seiko watches. The titanium was finished really nicely. The dial was really nice. It had a nice box sapphire crystal. There was a nice amount of lume on the dial, in the hands, sorry. So it was definitely on a more sporty side. But pin and collar on the bracelet still annoyed me. Lack of micro adjustment still annoyed me. And as nice as it is, it's still not a watch I feel like I'd want to add to my collection at the moment. But I am really wanting a Grand Seiko in the future. Maybe a diver, if they can slim it down, improve on the bracelet and adjust the clasp. It's a lot to ask, but fingers crossed. But we stayed in there, again, for too long, lot longer than we expected, and had a fantastic time. And then, because we were longer than we expected, we went to Hawksmoor, which is a steak restaurant, basically, and it was awesome. After that, went to Regent Street, walked up Regent Street, again went into the massive Watches of Switzerland, and they've got so many brands in there, just loads. Zenith, which I'll put some pictures up, Patek Philippe, JLC, Breitling, Tudor, Vacheron Constantin, loads of brands across 3 floors. We spent a good amount of time looking at the Zenith. So I'm particularly interested in the Chronomaster Sports. I tried on the white dial, picture up here, because I tried on the black dial before, but not the white dial. And I've got to be honest with you, I wasn't in love with it. I was really expecting to put it on and just be like, that's my watch. That's the watch I'm going to get. I can't be bothered with worrying about retention, like I talked about in my previous video. I'm going to keep this watch for a very, very long time, ideally for the rest of my life, whichever one it is. Screw it, I'm just going to buy it. But again, the bracelet and clasp really let it down. The clasp felt very cheap, not particularly well machined, lack of micro adjustment. It was quite a blingy watch, blingier than I'd remembered and anticipated. You've got polished centre links, polished side of the case, obviously a very high gloss ceramic bezel. It's just quite a blingy watch. It looked lovely on my wrist. I like the look of it, but the bracelet and the clasp really put me off. I then was able to try on the new, hang on a sec, Pilot Big Date Flyback Chrono in steel. Got there in the end. I wanted to try on the ceramic, but it didn't have it. Again, I'll put the picture of the steel one up there. That's a brilliant watch. Okay, the Big Date is a wonderful feature, and the sound of actuating it is brilliant. The movement wind was the smoothest and most pleasant feeling of any watch I've used so far. The Flyback Chrono was, if you're a watch geek, it's an amazing watch. And then also on top of that, you get a free, not free, you're paying a lot of money for it. It's £11,900 in the UK, but you get a strap included. It's a rubber strap. And it comes on a rubber strap, and you get a rubber strap included, sorry. And it was a really nice watch. It wore a lot better than the dimensions would suggest. So I really enjoyed looking at that watch. I was able to try on the ceramic Pilot time and date, and that gave me the ability to understand what the ceramic, other one I'm not going to say the name again, would look like. So that was really cool, and again I'll put a picture of that here. We spent a reasonable amount of time in there. The lady that served us wasn't great, but then a watch geek who apparently came along, and he was wonderful. He had a lot of knowledge, and we had a good conversation with him. So we're in there quite a good amount of time as well. And then where did we go? We went to Watchfinder. My friend wanted to get a valuation on his watch, and again, I know they're hoping to, well, both ways actually. You buy and they sell, but a really good experience in there. The guy was like, "Look, if you've got nothing else to do, feel free to come in, sit down, have a chat." He showed us some pretty cool watches. Talks about various different brands. He brought out an incredible IWC, was it an IWC? IWC, was it a Portuguesa, I think? I can't remember, but it was an incredible watch, full rose gold, dual time zone, annual calendar, like 50, 60,000 pound RRP, and they were trying to sell it for like 27 grand. Unbelievable value. And it wasn't even that big, and it just looks absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure it was an IWC Portuguese or something like that, but very, very cool. Going back very quickly, in Watch of Switzerland, there was also Mb&f, and I'll put pictures of their crazy machines up here as well. And that was just mental to see the kind of, you see YouTube videos of these things, but when you get up close and personal with them, it really does show you just how much effort and time goes into them, and as a result, where the cost comes from. Burlington Arcade, if you like Rolex, go there, right? Everything I think was overpriced, especially if you look at prices on Chrono24 and the various different watch forums when you can buy the watches, and not just overpriced, but significantly overpriced, like 1,000 or 2,000 at least, over where you can buy the watches elsewhere in the UK. But if you like looking at Rolexes that you can't find or get from your authorised dealers, then they'll have it there, as well as other watches as well. Yeah, the Burlington Arcade was okay, but not that interesting unless you really like Rolex. But the biggest takeaway for me from the whole day was just how nice everyone was. Every single AD we went to and boutique we went to, they were welcoming, they were friendly, they let us walk around. There was no pressure to buy anything. Don't get me wrong, they hinted 0% finance this, and you can buy this today if you want, and all that type of stuff. But it really wasn't a high pressured sales from anybody. And I think my friend said it might be a sign that things are cooling off. And therefore they're just a bit more amenable and a bit more talkative and more willing to engage with people, but I don't know. I'd like to think it was just how it is. So that's my biggest takeaway from this. If you're looking to go to London and go to these boutiques, which have some ridiculously expensive watches in them and really nice brands, and these authorised dealers, just go for it. The worst thing that could happen is they'll look at you and just be like, no, we're not really interested, and internally obviously, and walk off and not really serve you. But we didn't get that experience in any of the places. We did get our wrists looked at a few times, and I was wearing my Omega Aquaterra on a NATO, and my friend had his IWC on. So would that have helped? Not really. Neither are particularly expensive watches in the grand scheme of things, but they're obviously not the common watches, so maybe they kind of had an idea that we did like watches and we weren't just watch whores. Not sure. But yeah, if you're on the fence about it, I know a lot of people are. I know we certainly were. I would just say go for it. And the other big takeaway from me is today I have purchased my 40th birthday watch. I didn't get to try it on, but I got to look at very similar stuff to gauge whether I think I would like it or not. It's, for me, a huge amount of money to have spent on a watch. It arrives in 2 or 3 days, so I'm struggling to sleep. I'm very excited. It's like new car, new watch time. Everyone knows what that feels like, especially when it's a big watch like this. And it's not a watch I've talked about on my channel before, and I think it'll be a surprise. It's not what I said my criteria was and what I was looking for. It hits some of it and not some of it. So I'll be posting initial impressions on that when it comes, yeah, very much look forward to that. If you have any questions about what we did and our experience, please just let me know. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it to anyone thinking about it.